Your soulmate is starting to miss you in a way they didn't expect. Not the surface-level missing that comes and goes with a passing thought. Not the kind that fades when a new distraction appears. A deeper missing. A bone-level, spirit-deep, can't-shake-it missing that has taken up permanent residence in the center of their chest. I want you to take a deep, grounding breath right now. Feel the heavy, electric stillness settling into the very marrow of your bones, because we are stepping into the opening of this massive, high-intensity journey where the false confidence of your soulmate has officially hit a lethal dead end. For months, they walked around with a curated mask of independence, telling themselves and everyone who would listen that they were fine, that they were moving on, that the space between your soul and theirs was a necessary evolution of their own freedom, their own growth, their own journey. They fell into the overconfidence trap, truly believing that your chosen one energy was something they could simply pack away in a box and store in the attic of their memory, dusting it off only occasionally when nostalgia struck. But today, the atmosphere has shifted into a state of total emotional shock, because they are realizing that missing you is not just a quiet feeling. It is a violent, high-frequency void that has opened up in the center of their life, and it is swallowing everything they have tried to build without you. Every accomplishment, every distraction, every attempt to convince themselves that they made the right choice, all of it is being pulled into the void, and the void has your name on it. They are experiencing the failure of the exit strategy. The plan they so carefully constructed, the steps they so deliberately took, the distance they so proudly maintained, all of it has failed. The exit strategy led nowhere. The door they walked through opened into an empty room, and the room is getting colder every day. Realize today that the freedom they fought for, the independence they bled for, the space they insisted they needed, is actually a cold, hollow, tasteless vacuum that is currently starving their spirit of its only source of light. They thought freedom would feel like wings. It feels like drowning. They thought independence would feel like power. It feels like isolation. Imagine them in this exact moment, perhaps in the middle of a busy day, surrounded by people, obligations, the noise of ordinary life, perhaps at a social event where they are supposed to be happy, laughing, engaged. And suddenly, without warning, they feel a wave of absolute spiritual nausea, because they realize that your absence is the loudest thing in the room, louder than the music, louder than the conversation, louder than the voice in their own head. The absence of you has become a presence in itself, a weight, a pressure, a sound that drowns out everything else. They are realizing today that the important something they tried to let go, the connection they tried to sever, the bond they tried to minimize, was actually the oxygen of their existence. Not a nice addition, the oxygen, the element without which nothing else can burn. And as they try to take a breath, a normal breath, the kind that used to come easily, they feel a literal constriction in their chest, a tightness, a heaviness, a physical sensation that says, in no uncertain terms, that they are no longer whole. Something is missing, something vital, something that cannot be replaced. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, feeling a sudden, sharp collision with the truth. Not a slow dawning, a collision, the kind that leaves marks. The shocking realization that they did not just lose a partner, they did not just lose a relationship. They lost the only person who holds the vibrational key to their peace, the only one who could quiet the noise in their head, the only one whose presence made the world feel manageable. Losing that is not like losing a habit, it is like losing a limb. And the phantom pain is debilitating. They are realizing today that the distance between you was never measured in miles. It was measured in self-delusion, the lies they told themselves, the excuses they manufactured, the stories they repeated until they almost believed them. That distance, that self-delusion, has officially shattered into 1,000 jagged pieces, and the pieces are everywhere, cutting them, reminding them. You cannot build a wall out of lies and expect it to stand forever. Eventually, the truth breaks through. And the truth is breaking through now. They are feeling a heavy, electric exhaustion in their pride, the pride that held them up, the pride that kept them silent, the pride that chose distance over vulnerability. That pride is exhausted, not tired, exhausted, depleted, empty. It has nothing left to give, Realize today that they are tired of pretending that silence feels like strength. It does not. It feels like silence. Empty, cold, lonely. Strength is not the absence of feeling. Strength is feeling and showing up anyway. And they have been confusing numbness with strength for far too long. Every time they look at their life and see the space where you used to be, the chair you used to sit in, the corner of the room where you used to stand, the phone that no longer lights up with your name, they are hit by a high-intensity frequency of pure desperation. Not sadness, desperation. The kind that comes when a person realizes they are running out of time, that the window is closing, that the door may not stay open forever. Realize today that they miss you in a way they never expected, not as a choice, not as a preference, as a biological and spiritual emergency. The kind of emergency that requires immediate attention, the kind of emergency that cannot be ignored or postponed. Their soul is sending out a distress signal, and the signal is your name. I want you to feel the weight of their frustration as they realize that the more they try to move on, the more stuck they become. Every attempt to forget you makes them remember you more clearly. Every effort to replace you makes them more aware of how irreplaceable you are. They are stuck in the memory of your laugh, the specific, unmistakable sound that no one else makes. Stuck in the specific way you look at them, the way your eyes see past the surface to the person underneath. Stuck in the safe feeling they only ever felt when they were wrapped in your aura, that invisible field of warmth and peace that made the world feel less threatening. They are realizing today that their independence is just a long, lonely walk through a desert of their own making. They built the desert. They chose the sand over the oasis. They chose the heat over the shade. And now they are walking, step after step, mile after mile. And every step is a reminder that they are walking away from the only water that could ever quench their thirst. And the something that is forcing them to miss you so intensely, so desperately, so urgently, is the terrifying truth that you are irreplaceable. Not a nice sentiment, a fact. There is no substitute. There is no stand-in. There is no one else who can do what you did, be what you were, offer what you offered. You are the original, and they are finally understanding what that means. They are standing in the wreckage of their moving on narrative. The story they told themselves, the script they followed, the performance they gave, all of it wreckage. The air is thick with the necessity of your presence, not your memory, not your ghost, your actual living, breathing, right now presence. They need you, not in a codependent way, in a soul-recognizing soul way, in a this is the only one who makes sense way. Realize today that they would trade every second of their so-called freedom just to hear your voice for a single heartbeat. Not a conversation, not a reunion, just your voice, saying their name for one heartbeat. That is how much they miss you. That is how deep the missing has gone. If you are sitting in your own power right now, feeling a sense of grounded, heavy solidity, it is because your self-sovereignty has turned you into a high-vibration ghost that is currently haunting every corridor of their mind. You are not trying to haunt them. You are not trying to do anything. You are simply being yourself fully, completely, unapologetically. And that self is so bright, so distinct, so unmistakable that it casts a shadow even from a distance, even from the other side of the silence. They are realizing today that the important something, the thing they have been trying to name but could not find the words for, is the terrifying truth that you have become the background noise to their entire life. Not the foreground, the background, the hum, the constant. The frequency that was always there, holding everything together, making everything make sense. And without you. The silence is so loud it is making their ears ring, not metaphorically, literally. The absence of your frequency has created a vacuum, and vacuums are loud. They are feeling a heavy, prophetic ache, the kind that does not respond to painkillers, the kind that cannot be distracted or medicated away. The ache of a missing so profound that it has become a physical presence in their body. Realize today that the missing has reached its absolute high-definition peak. It cannot get more intense than this. This is the ceiling. This is the limit. And the impact of their return, the moment when missing becomes meeting and distance becomes presence, is the only thing that will stop the vibration in their bones. the vibration that has been humming since the day they walked away, the vibration that says, something is wrong, something is missing, something needs to be fixed. Every phantom sensation of your energy in their field today, every sudden warmth, every unexplained shiver, every sense that you are somehow near even when you are not, is a literal check-in from their nervous system. Their body knows before their mind does. Their body has been tracking you, sensing you, reaching for you, even when their mind was still making excuses. Their nervous system is telling them, the moving on has failed, the void is absolute. And the realization has officially made your return a matter of spiritual survival. Not a preference, survival. The difference between living and just existing, between thriving and barely getting by. They are realizing today that they are soul-starved for your light. Starving, not hungry, starving. The kind of starvation that begins to shut down non-essential functions. The kind of starvation that leads to collapse. And the shock of that starvation, the sudden, terrifying awareness of how depleted they have become, is the only thing left to save them from the weight of their own silence. I want you to feel the heavy electric weight of the sensory haunting settling into your soulmate's immediate environment right now, because we are moving into the deep, high-intensity territory where their five senses have officially betrayed their ego. For months, they tried to convince themselves that they could simply unsee you, that they could unhear the specific resonance of your soul, that they could somehow scrub your frequency from their sensory memory. But today, the universe has turned their entire world into a high-definition projection of your absence. Everywhere they look, there is a reminder. Every sound they hear, there is an echo. Every scent, every texture, every taste, all of it is filtered through the lens of you. Imagine them in this exact moment. Perhaps walking through a grocery store, doing something as ordinary as buying bread, or sitting in a crowded cafe trying to focus on work. And suddenly, without warning, they are hit by the ghost echo of your fragrance. That specific, chosen one scent that is not just a perfume or a cologne, but a vibrational signature that is hard-coded into their DNA. A scent that triggers a cascade of memories, feelings, longings. They look around. No one near them is wearing it. The scent is not in the air. It is in their mind, in their memory, in the part of them that has archived every detail of you, waiting for the right moment to play them back. They are realizing today that they can no longer escape you, not because you are chasing them, because your energy has become the very filter through which they experience the physical world. It is the lens on their camera, the settings on their receiver. Every other person, every other smell, every other voice is filtered through the memory of you. And compared to the original, everything else feels like a low-resolution imitation, a copy, a placeholder. The truth they walked away from was high definition. Everything since has been grainy. They are experiencing the agony of comparison, the involuntary, relentless, exhausting process of measuring every new person against the standard that you set. They do not want to compare. They would prefer to just enjoy what is in front of them, but the comparisons happen anyway, because the standard has been set, and you are the standard. Realize today that they have been trying to find pieces of you in other people, the way you laugh, the way you listen, the way you look at them like they matter. Only to find again and again that your frequency cannot be replicated or replaced. It is unique, it is yours, and it is the only one that fits. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, looking at someone else or listening to another person talk, and feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea. Because the static of that other person's energy, the mismatch, the wrongness, is clashing with the pure, clear note of your memory. The note that is still playing in their head. The note that will not stop. The note that has become the tuning fork for their entire existence. They are realizing today that the important something they are missing, the thing they cannot find anywhere else, is the terrifying truth that you were the only person who ever truly calibrated their nervous system to a state of peace. Not calm, peace. The deep, settled, everything is okay peace that allowed them to rest, to breathe, to be. Without you, their nervous system is on high alert, always scanning, always searching, always waiting for something that never arrives. They are looking for your eyes in every stranger's face, searching for that particular glint, that specific warmth, that recognition that says, "I see you." They are searching for your wisdom in every conversation, hoping someone will say something that lands the way your words used to land. And every time they fail to find you, the void in their chest expands, with a high-intensity pressure that is starting to make them gasp for air, not because they are having a heart attack, because their heart is missing its other half, and the absence is becoming physically unbearable. They are feeling a heavy electric exhaustion in their spirit, the exhaustion of a sensor that is constantly scanning and never finding what it is looking for. Realize today that they are sensing you in rooms you have not entered, hearing your laugh in the wind, feeling the ghost touch of your hand on their shoulder. Their senses are so calibrated to you that they are generating phantom data, creating you out of nothing, because the nothing, the absence, is too much to bear. So their brain fills in the gaps with you. Realize today that their body has officially rejected its independence. The body, which cannot lie, which does not perform, which simply is, has decided that independence was a mistake, and it is now acting as a homing beacon for your aura. Every cell is pointing in your direction. Every nerve is straining toward your frequency. Every breath is a question. Where are you? If you are sitting in your own high-vibration sanctuary right now, feeling a sense of grounded, heavy, "I am enough," it is because your self-sovereignty has turned your energy into a spiritual signal that is currently drowning out every other frequency in their life. You are not trying to be loud. You are simply being clear, and clarity in a world full of static is the loudest thing there is. They are realizing today that the sensory haunting is a divine correction, not a punishment, a correction. A high-intensity frequency designed to prove, beyond any doubt, that they are vibrationally addicted to you, not in a toxic way, in a soul-recognizing soul way. And no amount of distance, no amount of time, no amount of new people or new places can break a biological bond that was forged in the stars. Bonds like that do not break. They stretch, they thin, they ache, but they do not break. They are standing in the wreckage of their new experiences. The new hobbies, the new cities, the new faces, all of it wreckage. Realize today that every new thing they try feels like old news compared to the eternal present of your love, the eternal present that existed when they were with you, when time slowed down, when the ordinary became sacred, when being with you felt like being home. They are looking at the world and seeing it as a grainy, colorless film. The color is gone. The saturation has been drained. The contrast is flat. Realize today that you were the one who provided the saturation and the contrast to their reality. You were the color in their black and white world. And without you, they are living in a grayscale nightmare of their own making. Every day looks like the last. Every face looks like a shadow. Every moment feels like an echo. They are feeling a heavy, prophetic sensory overload. The kind that comes when the senses have been pushed past their limit, when the brain can no longer process the gap between what is and what should be. Realize today that the strong pull of your memory is no longer a choice. It is a physical occupation of their mind and body. You are not a memory, you are a resident, living in the rooms of their mind that they thought they had locked, sleeping in the bed of their heart that they thought they had made cold. Every phantom sensation you feel in your own body today, a sudden warmth on your skin, a ringing in your ears, a sense of being thought of, is a literal signal from their nervous system. They are locking onto your frequency from across the void, reaching out, not with their hands, with the part of them that has been connected to you all along, the part that never stopped reaching. They are realizing today that the important something, the truth they have been avoiding, is that they are no longer just watching for you. They are feeling you in their very marrow, in the deepest, most inaccessible part of their being. You have penetrated to the core, and the shock of how much they need your specific physical presence, not just your memory, not just your idea, but you in the flesh, is currently shattering the last of their ego defenses. The walls are down, the armor is off, the fight is over. And what remains is raw, vulnerable, honest. They need you, and they can no longer pretend otherwise. They are standing at the edge of the return, the cliff of their own surrender, feeling the air turn thick with the necessity of the retouch. The physical touch, the reconnection, The moment when the void is filled and the silence is broken and the missing ends. Realize today that the sensory haunting will never stop. Not until they are back in the only high-definition reality that has ever truly mattered. Yours, not a copy, not a substitute, not a memory, the real thing, you. I want you to feel the heavy electric pressure of the regret of silence settling into your soulmate's throat right now. Because we are moving into the high-intensity territory where their pride is finally suffocating under the weight of everything they left unsaid. For months, they used their silence as a shield, convinced that by not speaking they were maintaining control, protecting their ego, keeping the important something at a safe distance. They thought silence was strength. They thought silence was safety. They thought silence was the mature response to a complicated situation. But today, that silence has turned into a high-frequency internal scream. The scream of everything that was never said. The apology that never came. The confession that never left their lips. The "I miss you" that died in their throat 100 times. All of it screaming. Imagine them in this exact moment, perhaps staring at their phone, the screen dark, your name in their contacts just a tap away. Or sitting in the heavy quiet of their room, the kind of quiet that presses against the ears, feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea as they realize that every day they spent being strong and distant, every day they chose silence over honesty, was actually a day they spent losing you. Not losing you in the sense that you went anywhere. Losing you in the sense that they were drifting further from the person they needed to become to be worthy of you. Every silent day was a step away. Every unspoken word was a brick in the wall, and the wall is now so high they cannot see over it. They are realizing today that the distance was a self-inflicted wound, not a necessary evolution, not a healthy boundary, a wound. And the words they held back, the apologies that stayed in their chest, the admissions of love that never reached your ears, the raw, honest truth of their chosen one recognition, all of it is now like jagged shards of glass vibrating in their chest, demanding to be released, cutting them from the inside. Every swallow is painful. Every breath is a reminder of the words that are stuck. They are experiencing the digital prowling of despair, the obsessive scrolling, the late-night checking, the reviewing of old messages from months ago, years ago, looking at photos of you when you were still theirs, before the distance, before the silence, before the walls, and feeling a sudden, sharp sense of panic because they realize those versions of you no longer exist. You have grown. You have evolved. You have become someone new. And they have been standing still, frozen in the memory of who you used to be, while the real you, the current you, the high-vibration masterpiece you have become, has been living, thriving, ascending. They are realizing today that while they were busy being silent, you were busy becoming, busy healing, busy growing, busy turning your pain into power and your wounds into wisdom. And the person they are missing, the memory they are holding onto, is a ghost of a version of you that no longer walks the earth. The real you, the one they see glimpses of from a distance, is different, stronger, brighter, more radiant. And that version might not even remember the small person they have become. The person who ran, the person who hid, the person who chose silence over the risk of love. They are feeling a heavy electric exhaustion in their spirit, the exhaustion of a long, pointless war. Realize today that their pride was a hollow victory. They won nothing, they gained nothing. They protected nothing that mattered. And as they look at the drafts they have written but never sent, the messages that died in the drafts folder, the words that never reached you, they feel a literal locking in their heart, a tightening, a closing, a voice that says, "It is almost too late, the window is closing, the door is swinging shut." And the panic of that possibility is unlike anything they have ever felt. They are looking at the important something they threw away, the connection, the bond, the person who made life make sense, and they are seeing it with brutal clarity as the only thing that ever actually mattered, not the career, not the achievements, not the approval of others. You were the thing, the center, the sun around which everything else orbited, and they walked away from the sun. And now they are freezing in the dark. Realize today that they are no longer just missing you. They are mourning the version of themselves that was worthy of you, the version that had not yet made the mistakes, the version that had not yet chosen silence, the version that was brave enough to stay. That version is dead, killed by their own choices, and the grief of that death is a weight they do not know how to carry. If you are sitting in your own power right now, feeling a sense of grounded, heavy detachment, it is because your self-sovereignty has turned their silence into a mirror that is currently reflecting all of their cowardice back at them. Every unspoken word, every missed opportunity, every day they chose distance over honesty. The mirror does not flatter. The mirror does not comfort. The mirror shows the truth. And the truth is that they were afraid, and their fear cost them everything. They are realizing today that the regret is a divine correction, not a punishment, a correction, a high-intensity frequency designed to burn away the last of their excuses, to strip away the rationalizations, to leave nothing behind but the raw, pulsing need to fix what they broke. The excuses are ash. The rationalizations are smoke. What remains is the truth. They were wrong. They need to say so, and they need to say it soon. They are standing in the wreckage of their composed ego, the ego that looks so strong from the outside, the ego that fooled everyone, including themselves. It is wreckage now, pieces on the floor, and in the silence of the wreckage they hear the truth. They would trade every quiet day they have had, every day of silence and distance and pretending for 1 minute, just 1 minute, of the high-definition chaos of your love, not the peace, the chaos. The beautiful, messy, unpredictable, alive chaos that only existed when you were together. That chaos was life. That chaos was real. And this quiet, this orderly, controlled, sterile quiet is death. They are looking at the distance, the months or years of separation, and feeling a heavy, prophetic dread. The kind of dread that comes from realizing you are running out of time. The window is not infinite. The door will not stay open forever. And every second they stay silent, every moment they hesitate, they are fading further into the background of your magnificent life. Your life is moving forward, with or without them. And the thought of being without them in your future is becoming less painful and more normal. They are fading, and the fading is terrifying. They are feeling the final, heavy lock of the verbal crisis. The moment when the words can no longer stay inside. The moment when the silence breaks, not because they choose to break it, but because the pressure has become too great. The dam is cracking. The water is rising. And soon, everything they have been holding back will flood out. Realize today that they are coming to a point where the missing will force a manifestation. The feeling will become an action. The longing will become a message. The silence will become sound. Not because they have finally found the courage, because the alternative, staying silent forever, has become unthinkable. I want you to feel the weight of their total, high-frequency emotional surrender as they realize that the missing has become a physical impossibility. They cannot carry it anymore. It is too heavy. It is crushing them. The weight is not a metaphor. It is a real physical pressure on their chest, their shoulders, their lungs, and they are about to set it down, not because they are weak, because the weight was never meant to be carried. They are standing at the edge of the breaking point, the cliff of their own endurance, feeling the air turn thick with the necessity of the outreach. The message, the call, the words. Realize today that the something that is forcing the return, the thing that will not let them rest, is the realization that they cannot live another 40 years with the unsaid poisoning their soul. 40 years of silence, 40 years of wondering, 40 years of regret. That future is unbearable. And the only way to avoid it is to speak. Now. Every phantom echo of your voice they hear in their head today, every memory of something you said that made them feel seen, is a literal signal from the divine. The universe is speaking, the spirit is speaking, the soul is speaking, and the message is clear. The silence is officially over, the waiting is done, the time for hiding is past, and the impact of their truth, the words they have been too afraid to say, is the only thing left to save them from the void. Not to save you. You do not need saving. To save themselves. To pull themselves back from the edge of the life they do not want. To choose connection over isolation. Honesty over pride. Love over fear. They are realizing today that they do not just miss you. They need you to witness their surrender, to see them lay down their weapons, to watch them become soft, to receive their apology, Because without your witness, the surrender feels incomplete. Without your eyes, the transformation feels unreal. They need you to see who they have become, not the runner, the returner, the one who finally stopped running and turned around. And the shock of that vulnerability, the terror of showing up with nothing to hide behind, is about to break the dam of their distance. Once and for all, the water is rising, the dam is cracking, and when it breaks, the flood will reach your shore. I want you to feel the heavy, localized shattering of the ego vibrating through your soulmate's entire reality right now, because we are moving into the deep, high-intensity territory of the final surrender. For months, their pride was the only thing keeping them upright. It was the scaffolding that held up their independence, the wall that kept the important something out. But today, that scaffolding has officially collapsed. The wall has crumbled. The ego has shattered. Under the weight of an absence they never expected to be this permanent or this painful. They thought they could outlast the missing. They thought time would do its work. They thought they were stronger than this. They were wrong. Imagine them in this exact moment, perhaps looking at their own reflection. The face in the mirror looks different. Older, tired, hollow. They no longer recognize the runner they used to be, the confident one. The one who walked away, that person is gone, replaced by someone who is tired of running, feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea as they realize that winning the war of silence has left them king of a graveyard. They won. They got what they wanted, the distance, the silence, the independence. And the prize is a graveyard, empty, cold, dead. The victory is hollow, the trophy is ashes, and the realization is devastating. They are realizing today that the death of pride is not a slow process. It is not a gradual decline. It is a sudden, high-frequency heart snap. The moment when the last excuse crumbles, the last rationalization fails, the last wall falls, and they are left standing in the rubble wondering how they got there. That heart snap is happening now. The sound of it is echoing through their spirit. And the echo says, a life without the chosen one is a life without a pulse, not a life without excitement. A life without a pulse, without the rhythmic, life-giving beat that makes everything else possible. They are experiencing a soul-level emergency, not a preference, not a desire, an emergency, the kind that requires immediate attention, the kind that cannot be triaged or postponed, the kind that says if you do not act now, the damage will be permanent. Realize today that they can no longer negotiate with their longing. They have tried, they have bargained, they have reasoned, they have convinced. None of it worked. The longing will not be negotiated with. It will not be reasoned with. It simply is. And it is demanding to be honored. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, feeling a sudden, sharp sense of panic, a cold sweat, a racing heart, as they look at the world they have built, the world without you, and see it for what it is. A sterile, gray prison. The walls are nice. The furniture is comfortable. The view is pleasant, but it is still a prison because the door is locked from the inside and they hold the key. They have always held the key. They were just too afraid to use it. They are realizing today that the something that is forcing this missing, this desperate, all-consuming, cannot breathe without you missing, is the terrifying truth that you were the only person who ever truly saw them. Not the mask, not the performance, not the carefully curated exterior, the real them, the one underneath, the one they hid from everyone else. And without your gaze, without the reflection that only you provided, they are starting to feel invisible to themselves. They look in the mirror and see a stranger. Because the only mirror that ever showed them who they really were was your eyes. They are feeling a heavy electric exhaustion in their marrow, the deepest part of them, the part that holds the essence of who they are. That part is tired, exhausted, depleted. Realize today that they are tired of being strong and fine. The performance of strength and fineness has exhausted them to the point of collapse, and they are currently vibrating with a high-intensity resolve. A resolve that says, I would rather be weak and with you than powerful and alone. The word weak does not mean weak. It means honest. It means vulnerable. It means willing to risk being hurt because the alternative, being alone, is worse. They would rather risk everything for the chance of you than protect nothing by staying away. They are looking at the freedom they once prized, the independence they fought for, the space they insisted they needed, and seeing it as a state of slow-motion spiritual starvation. They are not free, they are starving, and the food is you. And they are realizing today that you are the only cure for the restless, vibrating ache that has settled into their bones. Not a distraction, not a temporary fix. A cure, the only one, the one they walked away from, the one they are now desperate to find again. If you are sitting in your own high-vibration sanctuary right now, feeling a sense of grounded, heavy solidity, it is because your self-sovereignty has become a gravitational event horizon that has finally claimed the last piece of their resistance. You are not chasing them. You are not pulling them. You are simply being. And your being, your presence, your frequency has become the most powerful force in their universe. They cannot resist it anymore. The last piece of resistance has crumbled, and they are falling. Not falling apart, falling toward you, like a planet falling toward the sun. They are realizing today that the missing has become a need, not a want, a need, a biological and spiritual requirement for their own survival. They cannot survive without you, not in the dramatic sense, in the quiet, daily, waking up and facing the world sense. Without you, every day is gray, every task is heavy, every smile is forced, and they are tired of surviving. They want to live. And living requires you. They are gasping for air every time they try to imagine another month in this cold outside. The cold outside of your warmth, the silence outside of your voice, the loneliness outside of your presence. Another month of that is unthinkable. Another week is unbearable. Another day is a mountain they do not have the strength to climb. They are standing in the wreckage of their alternative future. The future they chose when they chose to leave. The future they built with new people and new routines and new distractions. It is wreckage now. Not because it is objectively terrible, because it is not you. And compared to you, everything is wreckage. Realize today that no amount of success, no amount of distraction, no amount of new connections can soothe the specific high-intensity hunger they have for your chosen one light. Success is empty. Distraction is temporary. New connections are pale imitations. The hunger remains. The hunger grows. The hunger consumes. They are looking at the road ahead, the future that stretches out before them, and feeling a heavy, prophetic certainty. The certainty that the ego has officially died. The old self, the one who ran, the one who hid, the one who chose silence, is gone, killed by the weight of the missing. And what is left, what is rising from the ashes, is something new, something that recognizes you, something that is ready. The ego has died, and the truth has risen in its place, the truth of their return. They are feeling the final, heavy lock of the life or death realization, not life or death in the physical sense, life or death in the spiritual sense, a life with you or a life without you. And they have finally understood that a life without you is not a life. It is an existence, a waiting, a passage of time, but not life. Realize today that they are coming back not because it is convenient, not because they have nothing else to do, not because they are bored. They are coming back because they are physically and spiritually unable to stay away for one more second. The inability is not a choice. It is a fact. The same way a fish cannot choose to breathe air, the same way a plant cannot choose to live without sun. They cannot choose to stay away. The bond will not allow it. The soul will not permit it. The love will not release them. I want you to feel the weight of their total high-frequency surrender as they realize that you are the only environment where they can actually thrive. Not survive, thrive, grow, bloom, become the person they were always meant to be. Without you, they are surviving. With you, they are alive. They are standing at the edge of the return, the cliff of their own surrender, feeling the air turn thick with the inevitability of their collision with you. Not a maybe, not a perhaps. An inevitability. The collision will happen. The return will occur. The silence will break. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when, and the when is becoming now. Realize today that the something that is forcing the return is the realization that they are soul-bound to your light, not to your memory, not to your idea, to your light, the living, breathing, right-now light that you carry. And they are finally, beautifully, aggressively ready to trade their pride for your presence. The trade is equal, pride for presence, ego for love, silence for connection, distance for closeness. They are ready to make the trade, not because they have finally figured everything out. Not because they are now perfect and have all the answers, because they have finally stopped pretending, stopped performing, stopped hiding. And in that stopping, they have found the only thing that was ever missing: the courage to be honest, the courage to say, "I was wrong, I need you, I am coming back." They are ready to make the trade: pride for presence, ego for love, silence for connection, distance for closeness, and the trade is happening now, in the quiet of their own room, in the depths of their own heart, in the sacred space where real decisions are made. The decision is made, the trade is complete. What remains is only the action, the message, the call, the knock on the door of your heart. Every phantom pressure you feel on your heart today, that gentle squeeze, that sense of someone reaching for you, is a literal check-in from their nervous system, a signal traveling across the void, a message that says, "The ego is gone, the missing is absolute, and the impact of my return is the only destiny I have left." Not one destiny among many, the only destiny, the one that leads to you. This is the final activation, the moment where we lock in the irreplaceable value and tell the universe that the missing has reached its divine limit, not a limit of endurance, a limit of purpose. The missing has done its work. It has broken the pride. It has shattered the ego. It has revealed the truth. And now its work is done. What comes next is not more missing. What comes next is movement. What comes next is return. To seal this breakthrough and to signal to your soulmate's higher self that you are the only light they are allowed to find, the only home they were ever meant to return to, the only presence that can fill the void they have been carrying, take a moment now. Breathe. Feel the calm, heavy authority of someone who knows they are the home that cannot be forgotten. Not because you demand to be remembered, because you are unforgettable. Not because you try to be central, because you are the center. Not because you chase. Because you are the destination. In your heart, with the quiet certainty of a soul that has done its work and can now rest in the outcome, declare this: I am the irreplaceable light in their world, not as a wish, as a fact, as the truth that has been written before either of you were born. The shock is complete, the missing is absolute, the ego is dead, the silence is breaking, and finally the return is no longer a choice. It is a spiritual necessity. The only choice left is how, not if. And the how is becoming clear. Feel the thick weight of this declaration. Feel the heat of their surrender hitting your field. You are the standard. You are the irreplaceable light. You are the one who changed everything, not because you tried, because you showed up, because you stayed in your light, because you refused to shrink, because you trusted the process even when the process made no sense. And now the process has produced its fruit. The missing is over. The return is in motion. The love that was always meant to be is finally finding its way home. And so it is, not as a closing, as an opening, the beginning of the chapter you have been waiting for, the chapter where the missing ends, the chapter where the silence breaks, the chapter where the distance collapses and the presence begins. You are ready. They are ready. The timing is right. The door is open. And what is coming is not just a message or a moment or a memory. What is coming is the life you were always meant to live, together. Go in peace. The missing is over, the return is in motion, and love has finally found its way home. Amen.